The theme for NCAA Football 10 is simple: play the game the way it's meant to be played. Whether it's an entirely new mode or a gameplay option that helps with defensive play, nearly every addition to EA's college football series feels like it's there to nudge you into becoming a better all-around player. For the most part, these new features work well, especially if you don't understand some of the intricacies of the sport, and they're executed in a way that preserves the depth that NCAA 10 offers the pros. But even for those people who already know where to move a linebacker in certain kinds of zone coverage or how to use setup plays, NCAA 10 offers some satisfying mechanics that enhance the already fundamentally sound gameplay.
Quick throw to the end zone, touchdown. The tight end does a nice job coming down with that touchdown catch. He certainly did, Brett.
Perhaps the biggest indicator of NCAA football's drive to reward good play is in the Season Showdown mode that functions as both a self-contained mode as well as a feature you can turn on in other modes such as the Dynasty. This mode rewards you with points in various categories for accomplishing feats during the course of a game. While you can't actually participate in Season Showdown specific competitions with other players until the start of the real college football season, there are leaderboards in place that serve as ample incentive to rack up those points as often as possible. It's a fun addition that almost serves as more of a true test of skill than the typical achievement or trophies that are easily earned in simulated games. A mode that might seem familiar to those who played last year's game is Road to Glory. Essentially, this is the Campus Legend mode from the previous game, but with a new coat of paint, otherwise known as ESPN's popular field reporter, Erin Andrews. As you progress from your senior year in high school to your college career, in which you play a single position, Erin occasionally pops in with ESPN analyst Kirk Herbstreit to deliver some news about your career and some highlights. Unfortunately, the biggest problem with Road to Glory isn't that it's mostly just a retread of modes from years past, but rather it's the fact that the new presentation elements just aren't that interesting. Unless, of course, you have a shrine to Erin Andrews somewhere.
So what do you say? Would you like to put your career on display?
One other thing you might notice about Road to Glory mode, especially if you selected a position on defense or a receiver spot, is that the camera is locked behind the player instead of at the default near overhead perspective. While this was also the case in NCAA 09, this lock-on feature is now available in every mode in NCAA 10, but it's completely optional. The real meat and potatoes of the NCAA Football 10 experience is the Dynasty mode. Much like last year, NCAA Football 10 offers offline and online Dynasty options with the ability to convert a Dynasty from offline to online and vice versa. The online option also allows for up to 12 players, as well as customizable teams that can be created through the wonderfully deep and easy-to-use web-based team builder site. As the commissioner of an online Dynasty, you can rework conferences and schedules, change general settings, and advance the week if you find that other players are lagging behind. This mode is streamlined and it works well. On both sides of the football, NCAA 10 does a lot of things right. On the offensive side, the running game is finally close to where it needs to be and an absolute blast if your team has some decent running backs. There are times when an offensive lineman inexplicably blocks the wrong defensive player, but any decent running back can compensate and still squeeze out a few yards. As for passing, the interception problems plaguing previous versions of NCAA football don't seem as prevalent here. More often than not, a bad pass is just a bad pass, and the defense is more likely to juggle the ball in its hands than bring down the interception. Depending on which side you're on, of course, this could be either good or bad. On defense, NCAA 10 gives you a lot of tools to help play the game properly. One such tool is the defensive assist, which puts your defensive player back into proper positioning on the field, and it's especially useful when engaged in zone coverage. Normally, this kind of option might seem like a cheat, but it's more of a tool to help those players who aren't comfortable taking the reins of a defensive back or a linebacker and would otherwise avoid playing defense at all costs. This is similar to another defensive feature where you key in on a specific player on the offense that's been giving you some problems. Of course, veterans will already know how to compensate for these kinds of things, so these features are mostly here as a means for getting everyone else up to speed and teaching them how to play defense correctly. But of course, defense still has one glaring issue with its AI. At certain points, defensive players seem to just stand around a bit too much and not pursue the quarterback when the situation obviously calls for it. For example, on a containment play, the defensive ends will dash out to the sides to prevent the running back or QB from sprinting out toward the sideline for an easy run. But you have to ask yourself, why would they continue to sit in the containment position unblocked when the offense is obviously passing the ball and the QB's been standing in the pocket for almost 10 seconds? It doesn't make much sense, and when it happens during a close game, it's unequivocally annoying.
Deep pass to the end zone.
Both the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 versions share the same issues with gameplay, but interestingly, the PS3 version seems to handle some of the visuals a little bit better. More specifically, the cutscenes that show cheerleaders bounding around after a touchdown They seem to take a little bit of a hit on the Xbox 360 version, while the PS3 version seems to maintain the same brisk frame rate throughout most of the game. Additionally, both versions have visual problems with replays near the halftime during a late afternoon game. The lighting tends to jump around a bit and give everything sort of a choppy look, and it doesn't really look smooth at all. Otherwise, the player models look good, as do the stadiums, but it's really just not a massive leap over last year's game. As for the audio, the trio of Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, and Brad Nessler is joined by Aaron Andrews on the sideline, who chimes in with injury updates but really not much else. The core commentary seems to have trouble keeping up with the action at times, but overall it still gives that authentic broadcast feel. But really, it might as well just be background noise at this point.
These two Florida schools do not like each other one bit.
Despite some of these presentational shortcomings and relatively minor issues here and there, NCAA Football 10 is a worthwhile update to last year's game. The new modes and gameplay tweaks really help make NCAA football more accessible and more exciting to play because of the gentle emphasis on playing the game properly. It really opens your eyes to a whole new level of strategy that was previously buried underneath the seemingly impenetrable wall of sports simulation. And best of all, it does all of this without sacrificing the core mechanics that have kept players coming back.
Game with a touchdown catch.
I had a chance to talk to this guy before the game. He said he's been working a lot on one.